My wife brought someone else into our bed, and I thanked her for it. It happened the day my foster son moved in with us. I'd been Rohan's social worker for 6 years since he was 8, and his birth parents lost custody. 7 failed placements. 7 times I'd driven him to a new, forever home, only to pick him up months later with his garbage bag of belongings. 14 now. Fresh cuts on his arms hidden under long sleeves in July. When my supervisor said we were out of options, group home until 18, I heard myself say, what if I took him? It's against protocol for a social worker to foster their own case, but I couldn't drive him to another rejection. My wife Lisette didn't hesitate when I told her. Of course, she said, like bringing home the teenager I'd watched destroy 7 families was the obvious choice. I warned her about everything I'd documented in his file. The stealing, the walls he'd punched through, the fake CPS calls he'd made just to force moves. I leave before they make me leave, he'd told me during our last session. Lisette just looked at me and said, what does feeling safe look like to him? We converted our basement into his space. Private entrance, own bathroom, somewhere to disappear when existing near people became too much. The first week, Rohan barely left that basement. Lisette would leave plates outside his door. He'd wait until we were asleep to get them. She never pushed, never knocked, just left post-it notes. Lasagna tonight, vegetarian option available. Laundry basket outside if you need it. No questions asked. One night, I found her in the garage at 2 a.m., reorganizing toolboxes. What are you doing? I asked. She held up a socket wrench. He mentioned he used to fix bikes with his birth dad. Before everything went bad, she wasn't organizing. She was making space for him. The next morning, there was a wrecked BMX bike in the garage with a note, needs work. Tools are labeled if you want them. Rohan didn't touch it for 3 weeks. Then one day, I came home to find him in the garage, grease under his fingernails, Lisette passing him tools in silence. She'd been sitting there for 2 hours, not talking, just being present. That night, he ate dinner upstairs for the first time, left after 10 minutes, but still. Then came the destruction incident. I was at work when Lisette called. Rohan had destroyed his room. Holes in the drywall, mattress flipped, every gift we'd given him broken on the floor. The trigger? Lisette had signed a permission slip for his field trip, too much like something a real parent would do. Most people would have called it property damage. Sent him back to the group home. Lisette grabbed a hammer and punched another hole in the wall, then another. Sometimes things need to break, she said, handing him the hammer, but we fixed them after. They demolished that wall together. Spent the next 3 days learning to patch drywall side by side, mostly in silence. She let him pick the new paint color. Black. Of course it was black. Looks good, was all she said. The breakthrough happened at back-to-school night. Rohan had been with us 3 months. He didn't want us there, said it was pointless. He'd be gone by Christmas anyway. Lisette went anyway. When his English teacher mentioned his creative writing talent, Lisette asked for copies. She started leaving writing prompts on post-its. Never asked to read his responses, just kept leaving new ones. One night, he slid a paper under our bedroom door. A story about a kid who builds armor out of broken glass. Lisette read it and wrote back. The armor kept him safe, but it also kept him alone. What happens when someone with soft hands isn't afraid of getting cut? The next morning, Rohan was at the breakfast table. That metaphor was heavy-handed, he said. Lisette smiled. Yeah, but did it work? He actually laughed. For the first time in our house, he laughed. After that, everything changed. He started teaching Lisette to skateboard in the driveway. She was terrible. Fell constantly. Kept getting up. He'd steady her, hands on her shoulders, forgetting to flinch at contact. When he ran away after a bad day, she didn't call the cops. Just texted every 3 hours. Dinner's at 6 if you want it. Your bed's here when you're ready. He came back at midnight. Found her asleep on the porch swing, waiting. During his first panic attack with us, when he couldn't breathe, couldn't stop shaking, he didn't hide in his room. He found Lisette. She sat with him on the kitchen floor, matching his breathing, not touching unless he reached first. You're okay, she whispered. I'm not going anywhere. You're stuck with me. I watched from the doorway as my wife held this kid who'd convinced himself he was unholdable. She'd chosen him over her comfort, her peace, her perfectly intact walls. She'd chosen his sharp edges and broken pieces over our quiet life. Saturday mornings now mean all 3 of us piled in our bed, watching whatever ridiculous movie Rohan picks, him taking up all the space and stealing all the blankets. So yeah, my wife brought someone else into our bed, and I thanked her for it because that's where our son belongs.